I am your news host, Reed Larson, here of course with
Ryan Swanson, and we're here to talk about traditions and encounters. And
we are doing Chapter 22, Transoceanic Encounters and Global Connections of AP World History. But first, to begin this chapter, we are going to discuss the importance of the motives of travel. Ryan, you want to take it away?
we got three main motives here. We're talking about land, we're talking about religious influence, and we're talking about making trade routes and trading posts in the Asian area.
That, guys, and now we're going to be on to the next segment of this newscast of Chapter 22 in AP World History. We are going to be talking about the technology that these European countries had. First of all, how can we not talk about the lateen ship sails that these European countries had? Man, it made for such better travel along the sea. Incredible, incredible work from these European countries. As well, we have amazing nautical sea instruments, including the astrolabe as well as the magnetic compass, two fantastic inventions brought over from the Chinese, from the Tang Dynasty to be exact. These inventions really revolutionized maritime sea travel. And now we're going live to Ryan with an interview from the great Vasco.
I'm here live at the scene with Vasco da Gama. So Vasco, where have you been all this time?
How's it going, Ryan? Pretty good. Left in 1497 from Libsyn. Sailed around all of Africa. 3 months with no land. Insane journey.
Alright, so what have you brought back for us today?
Alright, today I brought back a boatload of cargo of pepper and cinnamon, and we really yielded amazing profit from this. Really amazing work we did.
So who did you deal with to get all that?
We dealt with mainly the Southeast Asian markets. We actually set up a trading post in Calcutta right around this time, 1500. Currently, we have other trading posts being set up around the Indian Ocean basin as well as India. Thank you.
And you heard it live here from the scene with Ryan Swanson, and we are here with Fox on News doing some sports.
Dude, he did it. He did it, guys. He did it. Christopher Columbus. You know Christopher Columbus?
I do.
Christopher Columbus. He has reached India. We have confirmation he has reached India.
Breaking news, Christopher Columbus, a Spanish sailor, has apparently reached India by traveling west, out about 25,000 nautical miles. It is currently October 12th, 1492, and I believe I'm getting word that he is looking around for gold, promise of gold in India.
I knew it. I told all the doubters. I knew he would make it. Wow.
I'm live out here with one of the crew members of Magellan's journey, and he'll be telling us how it was. So, what was it like to be on the ship and be part of such a good crew?
It was amazing. Ferdinand was an awesome leader. He took us as far out as the Spice Islands and Maluku. Never been done before. Some really rare stuff that we were able to do. He was an awesome man. He sailed with Portugal at the beginning. That's my former country. We made it all the way out to the ports in the Indian Ocean basin. He was a very bright man. Wanted to find a route from going from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Portugal had little interest in this, so he ditched that country. Picked up Spain. I joined him over in Spain, and we continued going until we got that route, and we lounging now. Let's read here, and now we're going to be talking about European conquest in Southeast Asia. To begin, the Europeans mostly traded in the Asian waters alongside Arab, Indian, Malay, and Chinese merchants. They traded with them perfectly peacefully. But in the areas such as the Philippines and Indonesia, Europeans conquered them fairly easily because of the very small amount of centralized government they had in their countries. We're going to be talking about the conquest of Philippines here with Ryan.
Alright, so Spanish forces approached the Philippines in about 1565, and the ruler at the time was Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. And basically, after they took over the Philippines, they settled in Manila, which was a huge trading port and revolved around Christianity at the time. Here with with Fox 9 News. I'm Ryan Swanson, and we'll be talking about one of the possibly the most important things in Chapter 22, the Columbian Exchange. So starting off, we had multiple crops, animals, people, diseases, and populations affected in this exchange between Europe, Africa, and the Americas.
All right, on to one of the things that occurred during the Columbian Exchange was epidemic and disease. Epidemic and disease, especially smallpox, decimated the Inca and Mexica populations. It actually took the Mexica population, formerly known as the Aztecs, from 17 million people all the way down to 1.3. So it really ravaged their entire community. So now on to Ryan with foods and crops and animals.
The most important things to think about going to Africa was weapons and manufactured goods to improve their kingdoms, and going from Africa to the Americas is slaves. Number one, slaves. About 10 million went over, and they were working on plantations to produce like unfinished goods like sugar, tobacco, things grown in like plantations and plants and crops. And then from the Americas to Europe were those things. Back to Reed.
Alright, another very popular thing is, or not a popular thing, a very important thing from the Columbian Exchange was the population growth. Like Brian talked about with the amount of African slaves being transported to America, the African American population increased very much so. Along with that, when the Europeans migrated there, they mixed with indigenous people, or not mixed, they intermarried with the indigenous people to create different cultures such as the mestizos. As well, the Spanish with the slaves were often, or the Europeans with the slaves were often called mulatto, and the French with the indigenous were also called the métis. All these three came from the population growth.
An important thing to remember is the African population actually grew partly because of an important crop called kielbasa. It allowed families to grow and be more nutritious and plentiful.
Oh, and before you guys go, we have a possible CCOT essay question for you. Analyze the continuities and changes in Western Europe economically before and after the Columbian Exchange. I'm Reed Larson.
I'm Ryan Swanson. We're Fox 9 News. Thanks for checking in.
Have a good day.